So today, on a Wednesday, Jason Howland here. I want to talk to you about staying in the sale and taking all your options off the table. Okay? So many people fail at this part of the selling process. Okay? So many people fail at this part of the selling process because they don't understand the customer. All right? So the first thing I want to talk about is withstanding emotional responses. You need to withstand emotional responses, and here's what I mean. If a customer is emotional, think about this. If a customer is emotional, it's because there's interest in your product. If a customer is emotional, it's because they are not getting something that they want, and that makes people emotional. When they don't get what they want, they get emotional, right? So most of the time, it's because they don't want to part with their money, or they think it's more than it should be, or all of those things. But those are complaints. Those aren't objections. And when they get emotional, that is showing interest. If they weren't interested in what you're selling, they wouldn't be showing emotion. Okay? I want you to hear that really clearly. If your customer wasn't emotional, then there would be no interest. If they're getting emotional, there's interest. So what does the emotion mean? It's not personal. You don't take it personal. Okay? You have to withstand these emotional outbursts and things that happen when somebody's told they've got to part with their money. Obviously, if they're upset because it's more than they thought, or they're upset because it's expensive or whatever, that tells you that they're interested. Okay? One time, I was with a customer, and I was in his home, and I had shown them a product, and they liked the product, and they were excited about the product. When I laid the price down, this guy lost it. I mean, lost it. He's like stomping around. His wife's all freaked out. And so he's like, how long is this price good for? And anytime somebody asks me that, I never say right now. I never do that. What I do is I tell them, look, I have no idea. You know, the market could change. Things could stay the same. I really don't know. If it were up to me, I'd hold this price forever, but it's not up to me. But the real reason you're asking that is because you like this price, right? Well, no, I don't like the price. The guy's yelling at me again. I can't stand this. This is too much money, on and on and on and on and on, right? So at the end of this, I was able to sit back and relax and just wait him out, wait his emotional, peak to start to decline again. And I said, look, you wouldn't be so upset if this wasn't something you wanted. Waiting a day, waiting 2 days, waiting a week isn't going to change the fact that you need this, is it? Let's get it written up. The guy stomps down the hallway, comes back from the hallway, and literally throws his checkbook at me and tells me to fill out the check. I said, you got to sign it, man. And the fact that what I'm saying is, because I was able to stick it out, right? I wasn't going to walk away. I stayed in the sale. I stayed in the sale and waited for the options to be taken off the table. In this case, it really wasn't that hard because I was able to not be thrown off by their emotional reaction. So many salespeople let that emotional reaction push them away or get them out of there, right? But listen, the emotional isn't personal. They don't hate you. They're not going to be violent, I wouldn't expect. With you. It's just a matter of they're upset because they got to spend some money. They want what you got, and they know they're going to have to spend to get it. The next thing you got to do, once you've learned to withstand the emotional responses, you also have to learn during these emotional responses. Number 2 is to think critically and solve problems. Okay? Sometimes the emotional response is they don't have the money, so your solution may be financing. Your solution may be to move them into a different program or package. Your solution could be one of a million things, but you have to be able to, during their emotional response, be in a logical, responsive frame of mind from you. You have to be able to be logical while the customer is emotional. Number 3, you have to understand the buyer enough to see that is why they're reacting a certain way. If they're telling you that they're not interested or they're showing no interest, it's because they're worried if they show interest, you're going to pressure them, or if they show interest, they're going to be obligated to buy from you. Remember, they're responding emotionally, and the less emotionally you can respond, the better your reaction and the better you're going to be able to help your customers. Remember this, you never want to overcome your objection. You want the customer to overcome their objection, okay? It's in the customer's mind, so you need to help them overcome their objection. You don't overcome their objection because they will either not buy or they'll cancel the order later because it was your logic and not theirs. So you have to help them get to a place of overcoming. So understanding the buyer and looking, again, thinking critically leads to step 3 in seeing where the customer is, okay? So number 4, you have to time your responses. When I was with the guy who threw his checkbook at me, if I hadn't waited till the right moment to answer that question, waited for that question to come, I would have lost the deal. If I would not have timed it and let his emotions go up, start to come back down, and then he asked a rational question and I could answer the rational question, I would have lost the deal. So the idea is that you have to wait the customer out, wait for the right time, don't wait too long. And step number 5, and this is where salespeople screw up all day, every day, ask for the business repeatedly throughout these emotional responses. You have to stay in the sale. This is where you hear people talk about persistence, but they don't tell you how. Persistence means overcoming their emotional reactions. It's almost every time your persistence is going to mean overcoming their emotional reactions without being an emotional mess yourself, okay? So you have to ask for the business. Number 5, ask for the business. So as the customer is having this emotional meltdown or whatever they're doing, you're able to say, well, absolutely, you're critically thinking and you're solving the problem. Absolutely, listen, without taking any money off the table, what would a comfortable payment be? Well, I don't finance. I completely understand you don't finance, but if you did and you had to, because obviously you can't afford this right now, if you had to finance, what would be a comfortable payment? And the customer says, well, $300. And you go, okay, in order to get your payment to $300, I'm going to need $3,000 down. Did you want to pay with cash or check? You see what I'm saying? You're going to be solving problems and asking for the business. In order to get your financing approved, I'm just going to need a signature here and here, and we're going to jump on the phone and get that done, okay? Okay, so $300 a month, I can do that. Welcome to the family. You see what I mean? You're going to be able to take that non-emotional, you got to be like a jet fighter pilot, right? The jet fighter pilot's got bullets coming at him, missiles, heat seekers, all this crazy stuff. We've all watched the movies, right? I think that's what happens up there. Anyway, they're going to keep their cool, right? They're going to, tower, I'm coming in. They don't lose their cool. You need to be that jet fighter pilot when you're in the sales situation with the customer, because they're going to react emotionally. You need to think critically. You need to work through the sale, stay in the sale, and you need to understand the buyer so you can time your questions and time your responses properly, and then you need to ask for the business. And I would say at least 5 to 7 times you're going to ask for that business before you get the deal. If you can do these things, you're going to have an awesome day in sales. If this was a good video, please like it, share it, click on it, do whatever, help me grow, because I'm here to help you grow and make today the best day of your life.